Alright, more preseason action coming. Where did I leave off? I think I left off at the Niners-Bears game, and moving on from that, we had a couple things happen Friday. Rodgers looked nice. Rodgers looked really impressive. Excellent bounce back game. I had a couple of touchdowns, one running, one throwing. Packers in general, I felt looked pretty good, and so did the Broncos. I, I I liked what I saw from both teams out there, and I like both teams. I really do like that matchup of the Broncos and Packers. I mean, it was the Super Bowl so many years ago, the second Super Bowl I ever watched and such. So, you know, I they're just good memories there, I guess. So yeah, I got a lot of positives to say there. Cutler got started off cold, but he got hot later. And I also heard that Elvis Dumervil dislocated his pinky or something. So, I don't like the sound of that. And on that note, it's also worth noting that that both teams combined for a one sack. Dumervil actually had the only sack of the game, so that's a bit concerning to me because I think these two teams are going to need a good pass rush this season, and both should have it, I think, and they really need to bring that. Cowboys Texans. I like this rivalry. It's interesting because it only happens once every 4 years and every year in the meaningless preseason, but these teams clearly don't like each other. They play for the Governor's Cup. I like this rivalry a lot, and Dallas takes it this time. I was really impressed with their starting units for the most part. Offensively, they had the one interception. Other than that, they were doing pretty much whatever they wanted. Defensively, I thought they were getting a lot of pressure. I was impressed, and they needed to do that after what happened last week against Denver, which was just ugly all around, pretty much. Other than the one interception, there's not much bad you can say about the offense. And I've heard Dallas is actually looking for a new backup quarterback, and I've heard rumors of John Beck, which just makes no sense to me. He's not ready to play yet. I mean, maybe you could go out and get a guy like Chris Sims, who has been in the league long enough to be ready to play at a moment's notice, hopefully. But John Beck just makes no sense to me, and it's a little too late. If you have an injury or you have a positional need, you have some sort of a crisis, it's too late right now, really. You're not going to get a really good player at this point. So, for Dallas, I think it's Chris Sims or nothing, and I think they should pull that because Chris Sims obviously does not like it very much in Tampa. Houston struggled early, but I thought they got a little better as the game went on. I don't know how much of it was against the Cowboys starters, but Schaub looked a little better. I thought Schaub actually put together a pretty solid game. Running game doing well. Steve Slayton, I have him on one of my fantasy teams, and not because Shango told me to, because Shango did go on record and say, get this guy, because he's probably on the waiver wire, and he's going to be good this year. I think he's going to start for them, and I had him before that. I had a feeling, because I know that backfield right now for Houston is a mess. So hopefully that'll work out. Eagles, Patriots. Really nice showing by Philadelphia after what happened last week, offensively anyway. Scored quite a few points. The special teams showed up big time, and I like to see that because last few years Philadelphia has been a team that used Reno Mahe to return punts and kicks most of the time, or Corell Buckhalter. And those weren't guys that were going to break big ones. They would just not fumble, hopefully. So now they got Deshaun Jackson, who continues to make plays out there. He did some good things offensively. Had the punt return. They also had the kick return by I think Quentin Demps. So looking pretty good for Philly. I was really impressed with what I saw out there. And New England again. They have not looked good this preseason, but how much does it really matter? Really, I mean. Can you really say that it actually means anything when you know that Tom Brady is not playing? And as for that, it's actually in question if he's going to be ready for opening night. And you almost wonder, on one hand, New England could probably beat the Chiefs either way. But on the other hand, New England has just looked really bad this preseason, so that's a difficult decision. If it comes to that, do you hold him out? There was also the Falcons-Titans game. Vince Young continues to look pretty off, and I don't know what's going to happen there. I've never been his biggest supporter, and Matt Ryan played well enough to secure the starting job, so good for him. Hopefully things work out well for him. I'm not exactly riding his jock either, but hopefully things work well for them. Saturday, speaking of quarterback battles won and lost, looks like Matt Leinart lost his. Had a quarterback rating of 2.8 or whatever. And he's heading down bust lane, isn't he? He is just cruising toward bust city right next to Alakai Smith and Tim Couch. He's taking a one-way train ride. It sounds like Kurt Warner's got the job, and for him to do that at the start of the season, in the preseason, is really, really bad. So, yeah, Arizona looks like you missed in that draft. Should have gone for Jay Cutler. But the rest of the Arizona squad looked pretty good. I think Warner's going to turn in a good season. They did win 24-0, so there's something to be said there. Defensively, they look like they're getting better. And Oakland looked a little underwhelming to me. I thought they would be a little better than that. Oakland's usually a pretty good preseason team. Russell, he threw a lot more than Oakland's ever going to ask him to throw in a real game, but he did not look good. Obviously, the defense was able to force quite a few turnovers. I don't know. I did see a part of Rams Ravens, and not a lot to say there. Joe Flacco showed flashes, hitting up Derek Mason, but he also showed flashes of being bad. And I think Flacco could be all right. I don't know too much about Flacco. Hopefully that'll work out for Baltimore. I like the Ravens. Defensively, I like the pressure the Ravens were getting. They were getting a good amount of pressure, but Mark Bulger did get back on track. He had a really good game, a couple of touchdown throws. No Steven Jackson and no Orlando Pace, but he played well, got back on track. So good for them. Rams defense also made some nice plays. Steelers Vikings, both teams. Kind of a slow game. I really don't got a lot to say there. A couple of turnovers that led to points, but other than that, not much happened. Saints Bengals. Don't the Bengals just look dead this preseason? And it's kind of weird. I mean, their offensive line has been bad. They've allowed like 10 quarterback knockdowns in the last 2 games on Palmer alone. And Palmer played pretty well out there. He just couldn't get any points on the board because of unfortunate timing and such and such. And the I don't know if it's going to all of a sudden turn on for them when the season comes along. And the Saints I like. The Saints are moving the ball really well. I like their offense. I still don't really like their defense, even though they played pretty well here. But I think their offense looks better than it was even last year. Let's see. Jags and Bucks. Jags win. I didn't watch that game. I don't really got anything to say on it. Panthers, Redskins. Damn. Panthers look nice out there. Delhomme started off real slow, but the running game sort of carried things early, and Delhomme did find his groove. He hit Steve Smith on a touchdown, threw another touchdown. He played real well. The running game, Williams and Stewart played wonderfully. The defense force got like 4 sacks early and was forcing, I think, at least 1 turnover. Washington, of course, after the great preseason they've had so far, it's a little odd, but the real concern is Jason Taylor out, and this comes back to the subject of preseason injuries. Like Osi for the Giants, he's out for the year. Kyle Kozier for the Cowboys, he's out for a month. We have Bobby Engram out for a while. Jason Taylor might miss opening week. So it's going to bring back that old debate more than anything. Speaking of OC, you have the Giants and the Jets, a fun little New York rivalry that going there. Neither team showed too much. I thought it was a pretty slow and not too much to be said here. Favre did get that one nice touchdown throw, but it got called back. So OC being out for the season really hurts the Giants, obviously. I don't know if they can recover from that Strahan or not. Lastly, Browns and Lions. Not too impressed with Quinn. I felt he played conservatively, and he wasn't awful, but he should have been a little better. And I guess I'll leave it at that for now, so I'll see you guys later. Hawks and Chargers coming up in about 15 minutes, so I'll be back after that game.